Okay, so hello everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed that last session of trainee talks that just concluded. So this is the official end of the inaugural CCNS meeting, conference, symposium. I'm not sure what it technically qualifies as. I hope you guys all enjoyed yourselves and learned and found this intellectually stimulating, especially given the challenges we're all facing right now. So this is the time where we would love to get your feedback. This was a learning experience for us, as I'm sure it was for all of you. We'd really like to hear from you guys what you thought worked, what you think didn't work for us moving forward, potentially for us to, maybe implement this again in some form or function, either virtually or not, in the future. So you should see at the bottom of your screen, there's 6 poll questions that I've put up there. If you guys could please answer those and just start going through those. It's completely anonymous, so if you have anything negative to say, there's no worries there. And as those answers are coming in, I'd love to sort of invite anyone up onto the screen that potentially has any more detailed feedback that they'd like to give. We have some time now, so again, this is something where if you have any thoughts or ideas that you think might be useful for CCNS in the future, for feedback for us as organizers, we would love to hear it. So I'll give you guys a couple minutes to take a look at those polls, and again, just chime in the chat if you'd like to give any more detailed feedback audio visually. So we have a question here. So Roman asks, how can we get access to the recorded talks after the event is over? Once the event is over, all of the links will still remain active, and the replays that you can have access to right now, you'll still be able to have access to. So simply go to the same address, crowdcast.io/e/ccns. Use that schedule button in the top left to maneuver to the session that you're interested in, and the replay will still be there. As I've mentioned a couple times, we're also looking into downloading things and uploading them to YouTube so you can view them sort of outside of the Crowdcast platform. But at least for the foreseeable future, things, and again, right now, immediately, everything is available for rewatch within this Crowdcast platform. So while we're waiting for, we have another question. So can unregistered people access the talk later? Yes, Francis. So I believe, and this is something that we may have to test out, but I believe as long as, if anyone who didn't register comes to this website, it may ask them to still register for the conference, even though it's ended. But once you put in that information, it should give you full access to the talks retroactively. Again, that's something that we'll have to test. If that doesn't work, then we'll definitely use the YouTube route to work on that. So we have another question. Thank you guys for sending in these questions. This is really useful for us. So is there a possibility to have an approximation of the IRL poster experience, something like N parallel sessions where each session is a poster presentation? So that's a great question, just us. So that is what we were sort of trying to approximate as best as possible here. Obviously how well we did that is something that we definitely want your feedback on. It's definitely challenging in the virtual space to fully capture the sort of interactivity and the organic nature of a poster session. So there are a lot of potential routes that we could. So IRL means in real life, Francis. Sorry for that. So there are a lot of potential avenues we could take. One is maybe hyper parallelizing things instead of using Crowdcast, using maybe Zoom rooms where people can jump in and out. That is something that I know was tried in some other conferences. We sort of wanted to try this alternative route to try something new. So that is something that we would definitely, if we do version 2.0 of this conference, which based off of the poll, it seems like most of you would like to see in some form or function. That's something that we would definitely like to improve upon, especially given, again, I think that we would all agree that those poster sessions are the thing that's perhaps most missing from real life, from the real life in-person conferences. So unless there are any more questions, as people are still filling out those polls, I'm going to invite up all the members of the organizing committee again, just so they can give their final words.
Hey.
Hello, Andrea. So I've invited John and Milad as well. So just as we're waiting, I'm skimming through these the polls. So I'm glad to see. It seems like you guys really like the tutorial talks, which is great to hear. No one said they never want to see CCNS happen again. I will take as positive. And it seems like for the most part, you guys thought that we sort of hit the mark in terms of being trainee focused. So again, that's really great to hear. It does look like the parallel short talk trainee presentations will definitely need some fine tuning, which makes a lot of sense. That's something that, again, we are very open to your feedback on. If you guys have ideas for how to make that more interactive, more like a traditional poster session, or perhaps you guys want it to be less like a traditional poster session, perhaps just more, longer periods for talks and less period for Q&A maybe. Again, that is feedback that we put it in the chat, email us afterwards. That's stuff that we definitely want to hear from you guys about. So while we're waiting for John to pop up, Andrea and Milad, do you guys have any sort of concluding remarks that you want to say?
Yeah, so I think it's been great to be able to have a meeting like this with attendees from all over the world, kind of be able to bring everyone together in a virtual space. So for me, it was the first time experiencing such a conference. I know Neuromatch has used a similar platform and was very successful as well. But I really love, one click away and then everyone can be connected. So I hope that even when the COVID-19 pandemic subsides at some point, whenever that will be, that we'll still have these virtual meetings where people don't have to, fly miles and miles to be at a conference.
So I think it was a great, in parallel with Andrea's point, it was a great event. Actually, I liked both trainees talk, which was, a great opportunity for trainees. And we had some, in the session that I had today, also yesterday, we had around 20-25 people, which is actually really good. And also liked the keynote speakers. We had really perfect, great keynote and research talks, which was really, really cool. And if you remember, Scott and Andrea, 2 months ago, we didn't have this. We were chatting, is it possible or not? And finally, we had this great event. And I want to thank everyone, specifically yourself, Andrea, Scott, and John. And a special thank to Scott, because without you, we couldn't have this. And yeah, so this is my point, and I'm happy that we were part of the solution, not part of the problem in COVID-19. Anyway, yeah, thank you, Scott, thank you, Andrea and John, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, no, I think this came together fantastically. There we go, John. John made it on. So for those who are interested, I know you guys probably couldn't see how many people were live. I think you only see the number of registered attendees. So we ended up with more than 450 registered people. Of those, about 350 people attended at least one session live, and more than that watched a replay in some form or another. And we were averaging pretty consistently, between 100 and 150 people sort of online at one time throughout the conference. So again, for something that didn't exist 2 months ago, to have that from people all over the world, I count as a win. And again, so you guys can, for everyone who gave a talk, you can advertise that as much as you want. You gave your talks to a fairly large audience. So we have another question here. So Justice was wondering, do we believe that traditional conferences will ever be the same again? I don't think we know anything about anything at this point in the way the world is going. I do think that between this and other conferences, the point has been proven, right? That you can do this. That you can have a meeting that's low cost. It doesn't require travel. That can still be very productive. And, there are obviously kinks to work out. I think the poster session and capturing some of that interactivity is the biggest hurdle to jump over. But I think that at the very minimum, we'll probably see more virtual conferences when the world starts to return to normal. I don't think they'll ever actually fully replace, people are still going to want to go to SFN, right? There's still some things that have to be done physically. But I would not be surprised if more and more of these virtual conferences start popping up.
Yeah, I think they're a great asset for fostering collaborations and finding out about each other's research. And I think they could be a great complement to these to our traditional kind of in-person conferences. I think, of course, there is a great benefit to meet people in person and have the in-person experience as well. But it's one of the silver linings of the COVID pandemic is that it kind of gave us a glimpse of what one could do with a virtual platform as well.
So John, I guess, did you have any sort of concluding remarks that you wanted to add?
Yeah, I would definitely add. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah, I'm definitely claiming the final technical issues of the day here.
We had to end with one.
Which is, yeah. I think that, so it's funny, like I definitely really have enjoyed this conference and a few similar conferences that have happened over the last few months. And there's been a lot of like a great, pretty efficient, information exchange medium, and obviously it's necessary amongst other things. That said, the in-person thing it needs work, right? There needs to be like the crowdcast for the other part of of conferences which is what I actually always say is the most important part. I mean, I really like the talks. I really like the fact that we've had lots of excellent talks, but what I've always said to people, as long as I can remember, at least the last 10 years or so, is like you go to conferences to meet people, talk to people, establish collaborations, move collaborations forward, and then like the talks and the poster sessions are kind of somewhat lower down the priority list. So from that particular point of view of like the function of scientific meetings, then there's some thinking to be done from the technical people and the rest of us about how to kind of extend the format, you know, how to try and account for that part that, you know, the function I'm talking about there, it doesn't necessarily need to involve people being face-to-face, physically face-to-face. It's just it's a communication thing. It's a relationships thing, right? Like I'm modern enough and young enough to allow for the possibility that I can have like a meaningful professional relationship with someone who I've never met in person, who I've only seen their face on a screen. Like I'm happy for that to be the case. That sounds plausible. So we need to figure out like how we supplement that or bring that into the picture as and when we continue to do these things in the future. So that'll be an interesting and a fun thing to figure out. But definitely the Crowdcast platform and the way we've done it here, I think it really is as good in many ways as the information delivery mode that we can get in a stuffy lecture theater. in some nice location.
I agree. And I think that, so for those of you who aren't aware, none of us are particularly, like computer focused people where, we're decently technically savvy, but none of us are coders. None of us are, by training or, web developers or anything like that. So we will, I think, we need some of you smart people to develop those tools that we can then use to, perhaps address some of those things that John was mentioning in terms of, some sort of more social aspect, some sort of, more organic interaction. So that'll be something that, if we indeed do version 2 of CCNS, which again, still no one has said never do this again, which I'm taking as a win. So when that eventually happens, I think that's something that we'll all keep in mind for, the sort of focus for improvements. So yeah, at this point, unless anyone in the room has any more questions or, feedback that they'd like to give us, unless any of my fellow co-organizers have anything else to say, I think we're about ready to officially sign off.
I'll say one final thing, which is I would like to extend the thanks of the organizing committee and on behalf of all of the attendees to Scott in particular, because Scott's been the driving force behind this thing. Like we've all chipped in, but it's been like 50-75% Scott. He's been leading the charge. So just an internal round of applause there.
Well, thank you, sir. It was a team effort, but I very much appreciate that. So I guess at this point we will sign off. Again, remember you can also, all of you as registrants for sure, can go through and rewatch any of the talks. If you have people that you want to see the talks that aren't able to, please let us know and we can sort of facilitate that process of getting the videos up on YouTube and things like that. Otherwise, I will officially sign off and say thank you all for attending. Thank you all for sticking around to the bitter end here. And yeah, that's a wrap.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everybody.